Thank you, thank you. Welcome everyone who is visiting. Hi everyone who is living here. I would like to kind of dive in why this year is going to change everything. And if you've been in crypto, this is not like ever before. But hopefully you're enjoying the event. I mean, this is a really nice venue. And I'm just trying to make some time so that we get back on schedule. But let's dive in. And I think that was a trick. So from my perspective, AI is the last wave of technology innovation. And the reality is AI is not like any automation before. Traditionally, we have industrial age, we had internet, we had computers. They usually gave tools to individuals to become more productive. But you still had decision-making kind of in the power of the human. What AI brings now is effectively automating decision-making, right? And that itself means that you can have any arbitrary layers of decision-making happening in automated way. You don't need to have the same kind of human somewhere in the chain to do quality control, to do kind of risk assessment, to do all the things that we traditionally have in kind of our proverbial supply chains. Now, even beyond that, right? If we look at research, historically we have researchers who are pushing, advancing, doing PhDs, but AI now is like becoming a copilot for that itself, right? Is able to go and explore all the options, but again, because decision-making is moving toward AI, the decision-making on what to explore, where to search, et cetera, will also transition to AI. Same with building new technology, building new software, right? Right now we're using it as Copilot. We still I want to build this feature, but these features themselves can come from some process of decision-making we are doing. And so it has all the self-referential properties that kind of whatever right now we as human doing, AI will do. Now, if you're afraid for your jobs, you should be. But the cool thing is humanity always will find ways to spend our time. So we'll all find other places to do and to apply ourselves. So don't worry that there's nothing to do. But importantly, whoever controls this technology will effectively control everyone and everything kind of. And to give you an example, right now, right, if you're using OpenAI and you're building your company around it, you're building your business processes, maybe you building a whole supply chain of your providers and services. The reality is OpenAI can literally flip a switch and disable your whole business, right? If you're a country, they can literally just say, hey, everybody from this IP address or from this kind of provenance is not able to use the service. And this comes with massive control now, because now whenever a world leader meets, CEO of OpenAI, they need to think about that like, hey, potentially, multiple, even already a few percentage of GDP, but this is going to continue growing, is now controlled by this single company. And we have only a few of these companies that are even competing in this right now. So it has massive challenges around control, around kind of what's available. They also, obviously arbitrarily decide what you can do and you cannot do. This medical questions you can ask, this legal questions you cannot ask. Now, we do have an open source AI movement, which is amazing. We have few companies that have done really amazing work. But it doesn't have a sustainable business model, right? The Stability is a really good example. They made $20 million and a $200 million investment, right, into building the models. So it's a massively non-profitable, because whenever you open source the model, somebody else can take it, serve it, for free. They didn't need to put the capital investment to actually build the model, and they can provide it to their users or to other businesses. And so you don't have this kind of flywheel. And so right now, the only company that effectively does it out of sheer belief that AI should be open source / trying to undermine everybody else is Meta. And then other startup is effectively burning investors' cash. So the solution I propose, I call it user-owned AI. It's effectively, first of all, changing how when we're interacting with AI, who is in control and for whom this AI is working. Again, right now, if you are using OpenAI, if you're using Google, inside those companies, whenever, as an engineer, you're shipping a new model, you're shipping it to make more money for the company, right? The A/B tests you're going to run are all going to be, am I making more money for the company? And like they effectively, will add ads into the models. They will, prioritize whoever paid them more. Like that will naturally happen. This has happened, even with Google search itself. And so we need a different model where users are actually maintaining control of their data. We have a clear kind of ownership and decision making that is toward the user's success, right? So it's not maximizing profit for a company, it's actually benefiting the person who's using the system and the community they're part of. And this AI itself, should be able to participate in global market. It should be able to, interact with everything. I'll expand on how this works, right? And obviously, the people who are working on this should be able to, there should be a business model around it, so they should be able to benefit. The people who brought data should be able to benefit, right? So you need a kind of fully sustainable model. So the other thing is there's a paradigm shift in the works, right? So first of all, we had kind of LLMs that brought in like the first paradigm shift, which we're still all catching up to, that went from search, right, where you type the question, you get blue links, you go to the web page, you find your answer, or you find the service or product that you're looking for, to effective LLMs where you ask a question and it gives you an answer, right? You don't need to click, you don't need to go anywhere, you don't need to like hunt for the answer. Now, the next transition is, starting to happen is when this AI models not just give you an answer, they actually go and do stuff, right? Instead of just like, I want to plan a trip for 2 to New York, and right now ChatGPT will just, give you a plan, and you then need to still go to Expedia and to hotels.com and here and there. It can actually just go and book everything, right? And, maybe it gives you a few options, you choose which one, and then goes and books. Right? So that's a next paradigm shift that's happening. Everybody's talking about AI agents. That's a massive buzzword. Obviously, I'm not going to touch all the meme AI engines that are happening in crypto. That's a separate talk. But kind of importantly, this transition means that the current stack, right, the current business that has been built around you going to a browser, using search engines, going to aggregators like Amazon and, Airbnb and OpenTable, and all of those things are effectively going away, right? Because you don't actually need to go to a website anymore to get information. You don't need to go through Google to find, to effectively be sold to advertisers, your eyeballs. You have your AI, right? Your AI that will run on your device. It will you will tell it what you want. It'll go find the options. It'll scan, 100,000 different options, evaluate it based on your criteria, and select what you want, and directly negotiate with that provider, right? Like it actually doesn't need even Expedia to book, a hotel. It can go to a hotel directly and book a room, right? It can even call the hotel, right, if hotel is not supported, and actually voice over, talk to it, and book it. Like this is happening right now. Similarly, if you want to buy an asset or if you want to buy an apartment, it can go negotiate with a bank and with the seller of the apartment, get a mortgage collateralized by the apartment, agree on this transaction, and then settle it. So that's effectively the new interface that we're moving toward with this new action framework, where your AI effectively represents you on internet and now can directly peer-to-peer work with all of the other participants on internet as well to figure this out. And that's where we as NEAR are actually working on to provide that interface and kind of communication. And I'll talk, I mention a few more things about that. So I talked about agents, right? And people talk about agents, so there's a lot of different stuff. So I want to define a few things. So first of all, there's your kind of assistant. So this is agent that works on your behalf, right? Maximizing your well-being, right? This is something that represents you, and this is where it's extremely important that this is actually private and that it's not leaking any of your data, and that it works on your behalf. There's no advertisement embedded. There's no bias. There's no way to effectively sway your own opinion, by injecting information into your feeds, etc. you have service agents, right? So this is effectively, you can imagine this venue having a service agent that says like, hey, if you want to book me, talk to this service agent and we'll negotiate the price and, we'll book it. Or this can be a company, this can be any kind of provider of sort, or that's a person. And finally, you have autonomous agents, right? Those don't have a company or person represented, they just run. And the best analogy is smart contracts, right? You have kind of smart contracts, it's just there, it runs, and whenever you talk to it, right, it does something. But instead of just, kind of simple program, this can be a, very complicated logic, with decision making, with analysis, etc., with memory, with using of tools, etc. This autonomous agents, they can be completely autonomous, again, like smart contracts, you deploy it once and it runs, or it can be managed by the token holders. And so that's where, a lot of people in crypto are really excited, like this idea of autonomous agents. But obviously, the current version of this is usually just on somebody's computer running ELIZA framework and a token, right? So, but, I think the idea that this is going towards this, where you have actually interesting businesses being built as autonomous agents running kind of, somewhere on internet, right, unstoppable, and you have kind of token holders governing how these agents kind of evolve over time. And potentially the token holders themselves can be agents and participating. And I have a whole kind of AI governance talk separately. Now, these agents themselves can run kind of on somebody's machine, right? So again, can be run on my phone, on somebody's machine. They can run inside so-called trusted execution environment. And this is one of the kind of combination of hardware and cryptography technology that enables to have verifiable agents, right? We know that this code and this model was run and on your input. And so that enables you to actually have, trust that indeed this was run. It also gives you privacy, which is extremely important. Finally, you have on-chain agents, right? This is where the logic itself, kind of the governance, etc., happens on-chain, and you may still use, for example, TE for private inference, but kind of all of the guts, effectively, of this agent are, available on-chain. So those are different classes of agents. And again, just to give you terminology to use next time you're shitposting on Twitter. So effectively anything right now where we have these layers of middlemen, which are designed to make decisions, quality control, etc., can be replaced in this new model, right? To give you an example, right now, let's say some bio company is developing a new drug, right? They going through studies. They need to go to FDA approval. They need to file a bunch of paperwork. FDA is making decisions, right, on behalf of the kind of U.S. People to decide if this is should be listed and sold in the market. Now, imagine you have your AI assistant. Your AI assistant knows everything about your medical situation. It has your latest tests. It has access to all the pharmaceutical companies and all of their data. And so instead of effectively delegating to FDA to make these decisions, your AI assistant can evaluate it for you specifically. Is this drug right now a right choice for you or not? So you're effectively bypassing all of the middlemen that been built kind of traditionally and historically, because we cannot make so many decisions every day, right? You're buying bread, is this bread safe? You cannot make this decision every day yourself, but AI on your behalf can actually make them. And so you can have a very direct relationship with suppliers and providers by passing all of this kind of layers that built up over past few hundred years. Same goes to financial, right? We have payment processors, we have Visa, we have kind of all of these layers that have been built in financial system, which we in blockchain say, hey, you don't need any of this, you can send crypto. The problem is you still want verification, you still want rollbacks, you still want, if quality of the product is not there, to get your money back. So all of that system again needs to come in together with decision making, and it can be in combination now with AI and blockchain really solve that problem. And so agents themselves will become businesses, right? Because they're effectively providing the service directly. You can talk to them, like let's say you want to file taxes, right? Who you're going to choose. You're going to have, a tax accountant or an AI agent that you can securely and privately send all of your accounting information. They'll analyze it, create a tax filing, and you know that all of this was done, without leaking any of this information. So we need, agents to be able to transact crypto and fiat. Fiat is not going anywhere. You need to handle data securely. You need to wait for them to communicate, to find each other, to establish this connection, and handle dispute and quality system. So to give you like very concrete examples, right? Let's say you want to buy something, new pair of shoes. You go to your AI assistant, you say, hey, I want to buy a pair of shoes. It goes and analyzes all the options, literally goes directly to all the factories that ever produce shoes, finds the best option for you based on, historical data of all the shoes you've bought, etc., and then directly creates a transaction and pays them and, sets up a direct shipping to you. Similarly, if you want to learn something, maybe it gets, a curriculum from another agent, and then continuously every day, for example, I'm learning Korean, reminds me and gives me new words and new vocabulary to learn. And if you want to do, get financial services, same thing, right? It can scan all of the financial services available on internet, find the best option for you, given your Sharpe ratio, and kind of deploy capital and rebalance it whenever things change. So this is actually what we've been building with Intents, and Adrian here intent pilled me last year. And so the idea that intents are effectively a way to explain that you want something get done by somebody else, right? And you can attach all the guarantees and requirements into this new format, and so you effectively have a legal agreement that you're creating cryptographically between different parties to get something done. And so this can attach even, if something goes wrong, we go to court in the, in Commonwealth country or in US or in, this 5th district in New York, right? So you have like a full capability to actually explain everything. And to me, that's actually the biggest change that happened, because smart contracts are really powerful, but they're still limited and they don't allow to do a lot of things you want to do in the real world. And so intents are effectively allowing to do kind of all of this real commerce and real agreements that we do. Like we still have a ton of paperwork done and DocuSign signing. Why? Because we haven't had like the system to really do kind of legal agreements between different parties in a cryptographic way. So I'm really excited. Obviously, it works on all chains with chain abstraction, tokens, agents, etc. So if you want to learn more, check it out. And so what I think will happen is effectively a transition of the global market. So we will go from, right now you have this kind of layers of central, of decision making that's happening. We'll have, more personalized decision making, but even more we have, this agents acting effectively, kind of peer-to-peer and really reshaping the economy, how it happens. And so Near is kind of here to power that. Again, user-owned AI serves on the front end, effectively how you interact, making sure that what you interact is on your behalf. Chain abstraction is this interface to enable effectively routing capital, money, assets, identity across all chains. And blockchain is to actually power all that at scale. So we actually added another layer with TE infrastructure to have this privacy guarantees and ability to execute kind of verifiable computation. I was just saying, actually, the interesting thing is this verifiable computation can run anything, and so you can think of TEs actually running mini smart contracts as well, but now they don't need to run on chain, so they can do a lot of things like fetching information off chain. We just got an example of AI Oracle, right, that fetches information from websites, analyzes it with LLM, and gives back to the smart contract, what's the response. So you can have effectively answering any arbitrary question on what's happening in the real world through this infrastructure. So a lot of cool stuff. Again, we're out of time, so check it out. But the point is, we're going to reshape as blockchain and AI space, we're going to reshape how the modern internet and economy works, right? And so it's over $1 trillion of business value that right now goes into digital ads and marketing and payment processors and aggregators, right? Financial services, like all of this is going to be, freed up and go to users and the providers directly. And so I'm really excited to kind of see that happening and really pushing this forward. So it's going to be an exciting year. I hope everyone have a really amazing conference. And yeah, if you want to read more, I post a lot on my Twitter.